Good morning students. In today's class we are going to see distribution system automation requirement of the power grid, end user appliances level for the smart grid, application for adaptive control and optimization. So the block diagram for distribution system automation requirement for the power grid is shown over here. The distribution system automation comprises of all the blocks whatever it is available over here. So first one is going to be your power quality. The power quality in the sense unity power factor should be maintained, whether the voltage tag is available, harmonics is available, whether the reactive power is getting inductive reactive power or capacitive reactive power, then trouble call, then network configuration. So we should focus on to the network configuration in such a way that we should get a minimum loss, load balancing should be proper and switching technique should be proper. System restoration, minimum loss and voltage for optimal switching is required. DSM analysis, that is demand side management analysis, for optimizing the power generated and what is the amount of power usage. Next is going to be your fault diagnosis. So when you consider the distribution system automation and control, this involves the delivery of energy to the consumer. So whatever amount of power we are generating from generation side to the customer side, end user side, what is the amount of automation and control that is involved in delivery of energy to your consumer. The smart distribution solution are designed to minimize your energy loss, mitigate your power disruption and optimally utilize distributed smart grid component, including alternative energy resources, power storage. And also we have PHEV. So in case of your smart grid, the one of your end user is going to be PHEV, where the PHEV charging infrastructure will have a greater access to large pools of your available generation and the demand. And also it may be important for the reliable integration of your large scale variable generation. As the level of variable generation is going to get increased, power balancing is an important factor. So we need to consider the power balancing in the area where the variable generation is going to get increased a lot, and the resulting variability may not be manageable with the existing conventional generation resources, and therefore we have to give some automatic distribution system control so that it could be the varying power can be controlled. Base load generation may need to be frequently cycled in response to this condition, which introduce reliability concerns as well as the economic consequences is also must. Therefore the efforts has to be taken in order to address the minimum load requirement of your conventional generation, and also it should contribute to the effective use of your peak energy sources. Next, to focus on to your power quality, we will be having a voltage and VAR control. VAR control means volt amp reactive control. It is considered to be as a multi-phase unbalanced distribution system operation, dispersed generation and control equipment in case of your large system. In distribution automation function, using VAR control option should maintain a proper communication throughout the decision making to install capacitor. Suppose if the output is going to have a capacitive load, then the synchronous condenser need to be installed. Thereby reliably the cost benefit can also be obtained. So all these points has to be taken care when you are going to make the distributed system automation that is required for your power grid. VAR control, now we have discussed. Next one is going to be your formulation of your voltage VAR problem. So in that the first one is going to be your customer outage problem. Here why we wanted to focus in the sense there are like real power consumption and reactive power consumption. So when you are considering about the reactive power consumption, the capacitive whether it is consuming a real power capacitive load or inductive load, that should be taken into account. If it is going to consume a capacitive load, capacitive reactive power, then the cost of paying the EB bill, that tariff will be more. Therefore the customer outage cost should be minimum. Therefore the minimum outage cost is equal to XIK peak CKJ CCK, where XIK is the level of your curtainable load selection for the type K bus. PCKI is going to be the maximum curtainable megawatt, that is load for the kth and ith bus. CCK is nothing but curtailment cost of your customer. Next, loss minimization. So for loss minimization, what should be the I square R loss? it should be minimum, and we have to take into account the real power and reactive power with respect to the voltage. Next is going to be your load balancing. For load balancing, the maximum value of your load, that is S represents your N to be the number of buses, Pi and Qi is going to be the power transfer at the ith bus and jth bus in per unit, Vi is going to be the voltage of bus I. And when you consider your multiple objective function, it is going to be Z is equal to minimum of A, B, C. Simple system operating constraints. So we should include the system operating constraints. What are the system operating constraints? Branch flow equation. So the branch flow equation should have Yi plus 1 is equal to Fi plus 1 of Yi. So it is going to voltage limit and current limit is given as Vi minimum, Vi maximum, capacitor control limit, Qs minimum, that is the minimum value and maximum value is decided with the capacitor power flow, curtailable load control limit, it is given with the limit of P and Q, real power and reactive power. Then power quality. What is meant by a power quality? Power quality is nothing but the ability of the system to operate without causing disturbances or damage to the loads and component. Power quality is going to be the major concern because it is very sensitivity to the present digital and modern control equipment to distortion of your PQ deterioration. PQ deterioration is nothing but real power and reactive power deterioration. So balancing requires voltage transient impulse, voltage sag, total harmonic distortion and flicker factor. So all these things has to be taken into account, and its calculation and the parameters are shown in the table as over here. So the voltage sag and swell, it should be variable between these two values. Flicker factor, delta V divided by delta, total harmonic distortion has to be calculated. So all this when you are saying about the power quality, all this parameter has to be taken into account, and we have to see to that it will be within the fixed range. Therefore, sensitivity detection of your power disturbances, real-time measurement of your parameter of the signal component in power disturbance, qualification or quantification of your power disturbance and their negative impacts on the power system has to be noted down. Identification and type of the causes of power disturbances has to be taken into account. Then the location of the power disturbances has to be taken care. So network configuration is one of the important factor where we need to focus on the non-linearity of your power system parameter, uncertainty in load demand and generation availability, system dynamics and stochastic of your system parameter. The network reconfiguration is nothing but your cost effective reconfiguration assessment strategy, and it has to address all these particular challenges when you are reconfiguring your network. So intelligent control method including your adaptive critics design, fuzzy logic and ANN method provide your adaptive stochastic solution to the general problem formulation. Next is going to be the demand side management. So for the demand side management, the option has to categorize for the peak shifting, valley shifting, peak clipping and storage conservation. So all these four things has to be focused in case of your demand side option, and it has to be categorized. And when you are using all these options, it has to have the impact towards the utility of your load curve for distributed automation function. The demand side management has to be classified under three categories. One is going to be your direct control of load. Second one, local load control option. Third is going to be distribution load control. The direct control of load, it will use as a communication system such as power line carrier, radio to transmit direct control of load, small generators and storage from utility to consumers. Whereas local load control option, it enables the consumer to self-adjust the load to limit the peak demand. For example, if your demand activated breakers, load interlocks, timers, thermostats, sensors, cogeneration, heating, cooling, storage and so on. So like that you people can use the option for local load control option. Next, third one is going to be your distributed load control. In case of your distributed load control, your utility control consumers loads by sending real-time prices. Distribution generation control. So in distribution generation control, we have the installed capacity. Suppose if you wanted to have the increasing capacity rapidly, low rating generation that is neither planned nor dispatched centrally and is usually connected to the distribution network. We have to provide appropriate control of your distribution generation control to improve the performance of your DG units without violating your network constraint, without overruling the rules and regulations frame, and it has to facilitate the effective participation of your DG in your power system. So two control levels are there. One is your DG control unit and second one is going to be your network control. The DG control unit is introduced based on the three technologies. First is going to be your induction generator, second one synchronous generator, and third is going to be your power electronic converter. For effective network control, it will be based upon your active management concept. So when you are going for the effective network control, it can be built up by using your active management concept. Finally, three DG control paradigm will be framed at the microgrid, cell and virtual power plant. At the end user level, significant changes. So end user appliances level of your smart grid, the end user appliances of your smart grid, we need to focus it onto the metering part, monitoring part. So both it has to be introduced at metering and monitoring. DSM and DR are the two fundamental automation functions which will be enhanced by the development at the end user level and at the appliances level. Then we have a demand side management that include the utility planning options. It means that the total system cost including your demand side management cost has to be minimized so as to have the optimal mix of the supply side generation and demand side load. And we have to analyze this demand side management using the techniques like daily load curve, mathematical programming method. So DSM has to be carried out in case of your contest like unit commitment studies, power flow studies, load reduction forecasting methods, engineering features at the end of your equipment, interable load management program, survey method that is data collection, and to optimize energy procurement and load management by utilities. Next is going to be the application for adaptive control and optimization. So there are several potential applications for adaptive control and optimization in the development of your smart grid. So when you are designing a smart grid framework, it can be used for many adaptive applications and many control and optimization technique can also be implemented. So it is important to adapt and have the proper control strategy for optimal power scheduling, considering your stochasticity and dynamically independent attribute of your power system. Therefore, whatever conventional technique you are going to handle, these particular problems will suffer from dimensionally, and some heuristic methods should also be intended for providing a non-optimal solution. The first application is going to be multi-objective time-dependent optimization for complex system. Optimal scheduling subjected to technical constraints of the plant or system. Adaptation to perturbation of power system dynamics over time. Adaptation to varying random noise, uncertainty and or missing or corrupted measurement. Adaptation to changes in system structure while disguising between observable and non-observable measurement. So your adaptive control and optimization will support all these following application. So with this we are at the end of our module 3. Thank you students.